edges here are that he's trying to undermine the media. He could have undermined the messaging so much that he can actually control exactly what people think, and that is our job. That is our job. That is our job.
And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
Hey everyone, Dave here from December 1773. With me as always is Ryan. This is episode 100 of the weekly show. All of the week's hottest topics with a twist. Be sure to like us on Facebook, YouTube, Rumble. Comment on the video. Very important to the algorithm. Share the video. And of course, subscribe. If you like what you see here, channel's growing. The last few videos have been getting a lot more views. Not sure why. We'll take it when we can get it. I will say, Ryan, today may be my favorite of the episodes that we end up having. We got a lot of big stuff. Obviously, we're going to be talking about Roe V Wade. Of course, that being overturned. We got a gun safety bill. There's some big news from Uvalde, the police officer that was detained trying to save his wife. Also, what a normally bad job they did trying to save children. So, of course, want to get into all of that with you. Before we get into that, Ryan, is there anything that you want to open with?
I have a story.
I like stories.
So, normally I go out with a buddy. I do the bar scene by myself for the first time locally. He wasn't in town. So I'm like, you know what? I'll try it. So I go out. I meet a guy, handsome 40-year-old man, got a motorcycle. We see beautiful women. It's a wonderful evening, feeling awesome. Like, I want to go to a second bar. So I go to a local watering hole. And as soon as I walk in, I meet eyes with a woman. And, turn away. And for whatever reason, I, walked over right there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I stood there. And out of nowhere, I was already, I got a beer, I started drinking, we just started talking, hi, my name, blah, 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 stuff like that, right? And then it was probably less than, Dave, what's the biggest thing we always talk about, at least me personally on this program, is conversation, right? And it's so important, the power of it, right? So imagine me startled, right? Because I'm one of the few people, right, that I think, that think like this, that I'm actively trying to cultivate conversations with strangers. I don't think a lot of people do this. So find me odd when this woman just looks at me. We're in conversation for a few minutes, 3 minutes, and she just starts going into this in-depth, spiritual level conversation. And she's telling me basically, it was so odd. Don't know this person, never met him before. First time I didn't tell her anything about my life. I felt like she was a fucking psychic. For all I know, she was worshiping rocks under full moon and stuff. I don't know if she was on that energy chakra, hippie fucking, you know what I mean? That culture of the rocks and the sage and stuff. But she just started telling me that, basically, God needs you. A spiritual battle. God needs you. You have a gift. You have to do your gift. And I thought about a couple things in my life. Once again, always conversation. I'm always meeting people. What's funny about this is I almost got in a fight right before this.
Yeah, that sounds about your typical Ryan night out there.
A guy bumped into me. I felt his ass on my leg. I was like, yo, bro, your ass is on my leg. And he called me a fag. And his friend called me a faggot with my anime haircut. And I'm like, fuck you guys, It's just... So, just before that, I have this altercation with y'all guys who just try to play pool, right? So, for it to just, unfold like this, it was such a deep conversation to have someone else got involved. We shared devil stories, I've had experience with devil, and maybe that's for a different program if people actually give a damn about stuff like that. But I know what I saw, whatever, you could say it's whatever. But I met these people, we had this level of conversation, and what she was telling me, it just seemed so right. Now, maybe I was drunk, maybe it's a female, maybe sure. But I'll tell you, man, I don't know. I don't feel like I could fake it, I don't feel like it was a lie. You know, and I asked her, why is she telling me this? She's like, I don't know. I just feel like I had to tell you or something. And it was all about energy, and you have a gift, and you have to do what you have to do in this world, and you're going to lose your family and stuff. Like, your family may not support you in your dreams and your goals and your ambitions and all your stuff. You know, full transparency, I have stuff, you know, I do art forms that I don't share with the world, and it's not because I don't want to share, it's because I feel like it's such a deep reflection on myself. It's almost embarrassing. You know, not that I'm embarrassed because of what it is, but just because it's like me being super vulnerable.
Yeah.
You know, and like that's embarrassing in itself. So, you know, this woman out of nowhere was giving me like this universal confidence to just basically keep pushing forward, keep doing what you're doing kind of thing. But it's just so symbolic with a lot of things in your life, right? You know, I have a thing with my Decembertainment I'll get to a little later, but it's just like, you know, having plans and moving forward and dealing with adversity and stuff. And I don't know, it was just weird. I wasn't going to go out and then I had this crazy bump in. It was like she was like an NPC in a video game. They gave you this crazy side story. I got at a fucking bar with some Native American Hawaiian shirt wearing native. It's just.
Well, we're gonna push on forward as she had suggested, Ryan, because of course we have very large news to get to, and of course that large news is the fact that Roe v. Wade has been overturned officially. We already covered most of the story when it was leaked, which I'm sure was you know, not malicious at all when it was leaked. So obviously the big story for sure is that. What I want to do, because I think it's bigger than abortion conversation. I want to President Biden of the Biden-Harris-Obama administration did have give a speech, of course, when this news came out, and of course he was very well prepared for the speech because he had 5 weeks or however long ago it was leaked to prepare for it. As you can see, he's a great reader, Ryan.
Not hyperbole to suggest a very solemn moment. Today, the Supreme Court of the United States expressly took away a constitutional right from the American people that it had already recognized. They didn't limit it, they simply took it away.
Keep in mind, abortion was never a right.
It reaffirmed basic principles of equality, that women have the power to control their own destiny, and it reinforced a fundamental right of privacy. It was 3 justices named by 1 president, Donald Trump, who were the core of today's decision to upend the scales of justice and eliminate a fundamental right for women in this country.
This is the great unifier right now.
Make no mistake, this decision is a culmination of a deliberate effort over decades to upset the balance of our law.
It was 1 president who nominated all this piece.
The only way we can secure a woman's right to choose
decades.
The balance that existed is for Congress to restore the protections of Roe v. Wade as federal law. But extremist governors and state legislators are looking to block the mail or search a person's medicine cabinet or control a woman's actions by tracking data.
You can spy on me, though.
She uses are wrong and extreme and out of touch. Justice Thomas said as much today. He explicitly called to reconsider the right of marriage equality, the right of couples to make their choices on contraception.
He specifically said that was not the Justice Thomas.
Not be the final word. My administration will use all of its appropriate lawful powers, but Congress must act. And with your vote, you can act. You can have the final word. This is not over. No.
Dude, there is so much to unpack.
A lot to unpack. So we're gonna get right into it.
Okay. I said something, he brought up data collection, whatever. I'm just going to use their musket thing against them. The founding fathers didn't have the internet, so how do I have the right to privacy on something that wasn't invented yet? I'm waiting. I'm waiting for why I can type free on the internet still. YouTube, not that I need you to censor me anymore. But it's amazing to me that he said that a right was stolen from you, but then he said that I need Congress to act to make it a law at the federal level, which is literally how you go about making things amendments and rights and legal processes. My full power of the administration, but you can just write executive actions on whatever whim you wish.
Well, that's so the only way to actually make it a right, of course, and all of us who know civics know this, that it is through Congress, because of course there is a way to add amendments. Of course, we've had many amendments added. So they could do that, but he's not saying that. He's saying we need to legislate this into law. Not saying create an amendment. He's saying make a law, which is a clear violation of the 10th Amendment, as we've talked about before on this program. So he starts off...
Which is why Roe v. Wade had to go to Supreme Court, isn't it? Isn't that why it went there? Because people were like, nah. And they were like, well, it's my body and my choice, or whatever. I don't know. I don't care. I just know it doesn't work. It's fucking wrong. It's bullshit. You devalue human life so much. We're talking about up to life. Up to their first breath, you could take it from them. It's crazy. It's crazy.
It's
bacteria. Bacteria on a fucking asteroid is life, but the clump of cells that can have fingerprints and respond to your voice is just a clump of cells, a fetus. I have an article that talked about, it was from a Science Overlook page. And it showed like a fetus in there, and it talked about how the mother's development actually adds to the growth of the person after it grows through its stages. It's like, how are you tell me? I know why they do it, but it's just incredible to actually see the zeitgeist of them feeding you one thing, and then all the information that we can prove is like how much earlier science do you need to know? But that's not what it's about. Once again, back to Biden rambling. I didn't even see any of this. I haven't paid any attention to these guys because I knew this was coming. This particular point, like you said, Dave, we talked about it a few weeks ago when the thing was originally written. The 10th Amendment's there for the reason. I don't know how you can reference the Constitution, passing things at a state level, taking away rights. I don't know how Biden can say all of those things when they all, not that they all do it, but he has done all of those things, particularly him, his administration, his colleagues, those Democratic people they're calling upon. They've gutted all our rights. They gave away all our money. I'm supposed to what? Give you unlimited power so that people can kill kids in women's stomachs because of rape and incest, apparently?
I'm assuming that's the case. I
Dude,
mean,
we devalued life, and we devalued like ourselves so much we let children cut their genitals off. What are we fucking talking? We're experimenting on children and unborn.
Well,
it will never be a law. This is immoral. This is why they had to go to the bench to fucking begin with. That's why they needed the Supreme Court, which job is to interpret. Its job is to look at the Constitution and see if the laws that they're writing are actually constitutional enough to be part of our process and our laws. Now, granted, you could say they're corrupt, and you could say one president picked them. There was other Democratic presidents that picked 3 people in one term as well. The only reason Barack Obama didn't pick Supreme Court nominations because he would have got shot down anyways, because at the end of his presidency, it's known as a lame duck, he had Republican majority. So it wouldn't have fucking happened. And then they can go on the campaign trail when Trump gets an extra pick, his first pick. Well, Obama didn't do it because he was saving it out of class, and he's supposed to do it for Biden. Nah. We can't have a gap in justices. You can't have a gap in justices of the interpretation of the law and how it's applicable to our Constitution, the founding document, the greatest document ever made. I don't know how these people can conflate all of these terms, smash them all together in one little perfect, this thing's like a 2-minute soundbite, and they just literally shred civics, basic civil liberties, and the understanding of loose history of this country in 3 minutes. I don't know anything. Give me a fucking historian's perspective on this, Google. Fact check it with the actual historian, not some. I know Google doesn't hire historians to do their fact checking. They probably go on Google.
You know, and the amazing thing is he ended his speech, which you can go see the whole speech. I think the whole thing's like 14 minutes ish long. But he ended his speech by saying that this is not going to be the final word, which is fascinating because my understanding of civics in the Supreme Court and how this all works is that is the final word, unless another case comes up to them and they rehear it again. But this is the final word. That's how the Supreme Court works. That's it. It is the final word. It's to the states now, rightfully so, per the 10th Amendment.
Yeah, meaning that you don't need to go to the Supreme Court again. That's weird how that works. It's weird what happens when you give freedom back to little people. This is such, You know what's crazy? In this state of New York, nothing's going to change. If anything, abortions are going to get better here. We're going to get better at doing it here in New York because we're going to have all the overflow. We need more public funding to the millions of people flowing from overstate countries. We need all the federal funding we can get to make federal Planned Parenthoods on every corner. I need 7-Elevens and Planned Parenthoods. I can't get baby formula, but I need Planned Parenthood funding. Watch. Kathy Hochul, I can't wait to hear this during her when she's trying to run for governor against a sexual assaultist grandmother murderer. Glad I could get high legally. Thanks, Cuomo.
Well, speaking of New York, and it's amazing. It's amazing to me that they're talking. It's not amazing because I understand how this works, but it is fascinating that they're talking about the Supreme Court and the Constitution and how constitutional rights have never been taken away before, but they're specifically overruled New York State, who is legislating constitutional rights by stripping them for gun rights, of course. And now in New York, of course, you don't have to be asked, why do you need the gun that you're purchasing? Doesn't matter. It's irrelevant, New York State. It's my fundamental right.
Did you hear what Kathy Hochul said about that? This is what's so great. These things it's just juxtaposition 101. It's all on the political balance beam for us to see. It's this Overton window that literally all the old school political. Kathy Hochul said that they are making us dangerous because we're allowing whatever her political banter is, right? But what she said was, says we can take matters into our own hands and go against the courts. David, what amendment is that?
That you can go against the courts?
Yeah, we'll go against the federal courts or the Supreme Court when they make a ruling. If they're like, hey, you can't do this, hey, what do you do then?
Well, you're not allowed to do that as a state.
Thank you, David. Thank you. So tell me why she's even trying it. They don't care. She knows she'll just write an executive action with a need of necessity. We got to banish those 5-round semi-automatic death pistols. I'm surrounded by SWAT teams and mass murderers and people that can bench press a pickup truck.
And of course, we have some more Joseph Biden because here's
because the guy that shot up Tops went right where all the government people go shopping, right? Went to just right where all the armed guards are, where Kathy Hochul. I'm sorry, Dave. Go ahead. It's fucking lunacy. They know exactly what they're doing. Kathy Hochul's making this big thing. And you know what? It's going to take another 5 years to bring, if they do anything about the handgun thing, for it to go to fucking Supreme Court again. And by then, what? If we have a Democratic ran majority-led court, I have to worry about this? This is crazy. The legislature, the Supreme Court, the Constitution will be a thing of wax to these people. It's all for political brownie points. Abortion's a win. The gun thing's a win. But you know what? At the end of the day, they're all equally corrupt. Because these people know civics, they know the way our country works, and they do every level of means to politicize the way that it's supposed to be done. The reason we have all these gateways of civics and the way it's supposed to be laid out, and everybody's supposed to understand the Declaration of the Constitution, is so that it's just super easy, so that it can't be politicized. You can't politicize the Constitution. It says what it says, and their job is to read it and see if the laws that those people wrote can conflict with this. Kathy Hochul is going to go against the Second Amendment thing. It's called gun safety too. That's something else I noticed instead of gun control, because that has political connotation to it. Because people woke up to gun control after there was people being murdered. Lock down everything. People are going crazy. Yeah, it's the gun owner's fault. We were all tucked up. All the gun owners I know didn't do anything while we were all tucked up inside till we can't leave.
So we can get into the gun safety bill a little bit here. Remember that with abortion, we've never had rights, fundamental rights stripped before, even though abortion wasn't a right, and this is. But here's Biden, of course, speaking and then signing gun safety bill into law.
Well, this bill doesn't do everything I want. It does include actions I've long called for that are going to save lives. It funds crisis intervention, including red flag laws. It keeps guns out of the hands of people who are a danger to themselves and to others.
Without due process.
And it finally closes what is known as the boyfriend loophole. So if you assault your boyfriend or girlfriend, you can't buy a gun or own a gun.
Without due process.
It requires young people aged 18 to 21 to undergo enhanced background checks. It includes
Already
the
do.
first ever
What are
federal
you
law against
background
gun
checking an
trafficking
18-year-old
and
for? He's
straw
got no
purchases,
life.
distinct federal crimes for the first time. It clarifies who needs to register as a federally licensed gun dealer and run background checks before selling a single weapon.
They
I'm
already
not
do
going to
that.
sign this bill into law.
I hate the theatrics of all this. Look, this is...
Well, they know how laws work, David. It's not theatrics. This is how it's supposed to be done.
Not theatrics. He had to take the cap off of the pen, for fuck's sake.
Let's give the pens out after impeachment ceremony. Not political. Find them on eBay. Fucking assholes. Yeah, no, they know how it's done. I'm going to sign this bill into law now.
God
All those
willing,
executive actions.
it's going to save a lot of lives.
All those emergency
We
powers.
already have background checks. That already is a thing. We already, if the boyfriend loophole or whatever, why isn't it the girlfriend loophole? That doesn't matter.
Girlfriends never assault
loophole.
their boyfriends, Dave. Did you not watch the Johnny Depp case?
You know what happens if you assault your girlfriend and you're convicted of it? You're a felon, and you can't get a gun legally.
Can't
the
get any
boyfriend
gun.
loophole takes that away without due process. You just have to be accused.
Due process is what amendment, people? Fourth and fifth. Double jeopardy's what, seventh? Like,
This is unbelievable. And this is the same guy, right? This is the same
Are you
guy.
saying there's two Joe Bidens, David?
I don't know. I couldn't imagine there's more than one of these. The same guy on abortion says, I've never seen the courts do such a thing. They've stripped a fundamental right, a right that doesn't exist and never existed. And the same guy is signing infringements on the Second Amendment that says it shouldn't be infringed.
Yeah, explicitly.
It explicitly says the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed.
The right of the people to keep and bear arms, David. Remember the militia thing? We have to separate.
I know.
The right of the people. We the people. It's weird they use the same word twice. I don't know. That's militia, right? We the militia.
Ryan, is a background check an infringement?
Dave, I have a fucking high school education with some trade school knowledge, life experience, and I can... Where are all of our print and prestige people? You know? Dave and I predict the future from my couch and his chair.
Yeah,
I catch a buzz and predict the future. We don't have our best and brightest. This is so crazy. Back to the whole theatrics of politics, right?
It really is. He walks from the podium.
I'm going to sign this
in his
bill.
chairs. His loving wife is right next to him. He takes the pen from the pen holder that holds like 6 or 7 pens. He takes the one pen that's there, takes the cap off, signs it, gets a little emotion. God willing, it's going to save a lot of lives.
Even though I don't think that you can relate any gun control law to explicitly equating to the saving of lives.
Well, you can. If anything, it's the opposite. But
Tim Kennedy was on Joe Rogan. I think it was this week or last week, and I listened to a majority of the podcast, and he talked specifically about the failure in Afghanistan, which I encourage. There was a clip of it which actually made me go check out the full pod with Rogan and Kennedy. But it's about the Afghanistan. It's about 15 minutes. I encourage everybody to go and listen to that. And when I hear that Joe Biden isn't the worst president in the history of the fucking known world, I don't know what is. Afghanistan alone. Tim Kennedy's there. It's not fake news. Literally first-hand reporter. What else do you need? And he actually lays it out. What it did for America, our reputation, ramification. Don't tell me that the gas and everything else ain't tied to him too.
Well, and of course, and we do, of course, blame Joe Biden, but this couldn't have happened without passing the legislature first, civics, remember? And it happened with Republicans. So I think we should bring up that list. I have a list of Republicans in the Senate and the House. I think we should bring it up. We will say them by name and denounce them. 15 Senate Republicans. Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, Senator John Cornyn, Senator Thom Tillis. It's a dumb name. You're a
There's
dumb
a
person.
Texan in there. Look at the Texan.
Senator, he must be Austin. Roy Blunt, Senator Dick Burr, aptly named. Senator Bill Cassidy, Senator Susan Collins, Senator Lindsey Graham, Senator Rob Portman, Senator Mitt Romney, little bitch, Senator Pat Toomey in my state, Senator Joni Ernst, Senator Lisa Murkowski, and Senator Todd Young. Denounce all of them. And then this is the 14 House members: Liz Cheney,
Chris Jacobs, I hate that guy.
Fred Upton, Anthony Gonzalez, Steve Shabbat, Michael Turner, Dave Joyce, Chris Jacobs, Brian Fitzpatrick, Vincenti Gonzalez,
Another Texan.
Maria Salazar. I don't even know if she's now it's in Florida, probably. John Katko. Do you remember the name John Katko? Do you remember John Katko?
From the Catskills or something?
John Katko. If this name sounds familiar, it's because you watched.
Oh, this is your friend,
with
right?
Christian Ansel. When we had him on, and he's specifically working with the guy who was primarying John Katko. This is why. That's why. Adam Kinzinger and Tom Rice. All of you are piles of shit.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys can vote me. Not like I'll win because there's no more free elections in America.
What do you mean? What are you talking about? We just finished our most safe and secure election ever.
Dave, what I've really been enjoying lately on my Facebook memories is when I go to my Facebook from 4 years ago. That's where it's an odd time. And it's gone. I'm assuming it's from Trump. Hold on, real quick. I'm sorry. Just to round out the Tim Kennedy thing, but he brought up in that podcast about school shooting, how to stop it and not infringe on gun laws and all this stuff. He has it's a wonderful podcast. It's actually like this is what, when we mean conversation, we have to break through the people, their emotions about kids getting murdered, but it's okay when you can do it on your own. But we have to break their zeitgeist because they've been lied to so long about it. Most people don't understand firearms, and they don't understand them because the government expressly knows the power we hold when we hold them. So, I mean, they may have nukes, but it's crazy that, enough pistols in that country can keep the government in check, which is kind of crazy. But, yeah, it's a great podcast. I encourage everybody to look it out. And it's not surprising that there's this many Republicans leaning. The old school name is Republican in name only, also known as rhinos. Mm-hmm. This is where, what's shitty about being Republican leaning is that's where the spectrum is now. So when you see people voting, it's very easy for the other side to paint this political narrative that the Republicans are fractured, when really what it is we have plants within our own system, within our own party, that don't want to see the success of actual true liberty and the American prosperity. They don't want the American agenda. What did Trump say when he won 2016? I'm going to drain the swamp. And that wasn't exclusive to party. And we've seen some of these people on this very list fight against the president on some things.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. A lot of them, I don't remember the exact number, but I want to say it was right around half of them did vote to impeach Trump too. So I don't think that's any coincidence.
The impeachment that was based on the Russian dossier that wasn't real.
Well, yeah. That was one of them. Yeah.
Okay.
And of course, we couldn't have these types of gun safety bills without the incident in Buffalo and the school shooting that we had recently in Uvalde. And with Uvalde, I don't know if you saw the news, but there was an officer of the Uvalde, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, of the Uvalde Police Department who was detained by the Uvalde Police Department and had his gun stripped from him because his wife was one of the teachers inside. He got a call, as they all did, because 911, that she had been shot. He was going to go in to save her, and they stopped him. The Uvalde Police Department stopped an officer from going inside to save his wife.
It's not surprising. I've seen a few articles circling that talked about how they were there a half hour. The door was unlocked.
Well,
stories aren't matching up. Not to mention.
We'll get into some of the specifics of that because we have one of the I don't remember exactly who it was, but he was testifying about this. But yeah, the slain Texas teacher's officer husband tried to rescue her, but was detained and had his gun taken. And it was they call him the cop husband of one of the teachers slain in the Texas massacre, but instead detained and had his gun taken away. And I believe, Ruben Ruiz, an officer with the school police department in Uvalde. Okay, so he's with the school police in Uvalde. Had been driven to Robb Elementary School by Sergeant as soon as alerts came in May 14th. Mass shooting that left 19 children dead. And yeah, we do have the
19
testimony.
fetuses dead.
They were just clumps of cells. Yeah, this is some chilling testimony.
However, we do know this. There's compelling evidence that the law enforcement response to the attack at Robb Elementary was an abject failure and antithetical to everything we've learned over the last 2 decades since the Columbine massacre.
What have we learned?
After the subject entered the West Building, there was a sufficient number of armed officers wearing body armor to isolate, distract, and neutralize the subject. The only thing stopping a hallway of dedicated officers from entering room 111 and 112 was the on-scene commander, who decided to place the lives of officers before the lives of children. The officers had weapons, the children had none. The officers had body armor, the children had none. The officers had training, the subject had none. 1 hour, 14 minutes, and 8 seconds. That's how long the children waited and the teachers waited in rooms 111 to be rescued. And while they waited, the on-scene commander waited for a radio and rifles. Then he waited for shields. Then he waited for SWAT. Lastly, he waited for a key that was never needed. The post-Columbine doctrine is clear and compelling and unambiguous. Stop the killing, stop the dying. You can't do the latter unless you do the former.
Isn't Texas the same crazy state that when there was a shooter or a sniper rifle, they sent a fucking robot out there with C4 and blew him up to death? Oh, we didn't have a key. You have a fucking car. Drive it into the side of
the door.
They have on brush guards. The Pew has brush guards on every vehicle. I'm supposed to, we're going to wait for a key. Rip the fucking door off the hinge. These people are crazy. And what is the solution, David?
Well, the solution...
I need more gun safety. Cops waiting fucking hours. Guy had to get half a haircut and run down there and do business. The things I would do if I heard somebody was in my daughter's school is fucking unbelievable.
There's no detaining. No, it ain't happening. Yeah. You're not detaining.
You're not. And it's going to be more than me. That's what they... I'm not going down there alone. I'm going to have my own police force, my own little militia to go get my kid out of school safely. You guys are going to sit there and wait while you're on your union break with your benefits. Those guys should all be stripped of everything, and they should actually do community service till they die. Till they die. They should be 99 years old doing community service till they die. I'm not one to give out judgments. I'm throwing stones in the glass house here, but what the fuck, man?
It's unbelievable. They waited.
They take our gun rights. They're taking.
They waited for over an hour for SWAT and specialty whatever and keys. The door was unlocked. The one officer testified and said that he tried to open the door, and they said, "Wait a minute, how could you try to open the door? Because they don't lock from the inside. If you would have tried, it would have opened."
They probably don't lock from the inside in case there's some kind of tragedy like that.
They don't lock from the inside. That's what I've discovered after watching a lot of this testimony here. And the officer said, "I tried to open it, but I couldn't. It was locked. We had to wait for..." No, you're a piece of shit. You're lying.
Dude, you have shot to shoot the door. I broke into... I told you guys the story. I broke into my house with a screwdriver. Zero children in here. There's zero children in here at that time. It was just me.
This is the basis for no rights for us, citizens.
Welcome to 2035. You have no rights, you have no freedom, and you're the happiest you've ever been. Sounds awfully sentimental. Dave, am I not correct when they're saying they want to tear the school down?
I didn't look into that, but you did tell me that.
I have seen this with the Tops massacre as well here locally in Buffalo, the Tops tragedy. I've seen them referencing tearing it down. I brought up a little while ago, I don't know if it was on Conspiracy Cast, but when they tore down Sandy Hook in one whole day, and Dave thought it sounded crazy, but it, you know.
I'm.
Have you heard the conspiracy theories around these shootings that these guys have like $20,000 in ammunition and body armor and guns and stuff? And the one dude in Buffalo, for example, was a 19-year-old kid with no job and no credit cards. So where did he get $20,000?
Well, I mean, I did see something like that with the Uvalde shooting, where the guy, he was an 18, 19-year-old kid, lived with his grandma, had 2 AR-15s. I mean,
It's not possible.
They ain't cheap.
It's not possible, though. Like, I am objective enough to do that. But, I mean, I know when I was that old, I wasn't necessarily the most disciplined. But then again, I wasn't trying to cause mass violence and terroristic fucking, you know. At least I was healthy enough to not do that, you know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Just none of their story makes any sense. It doesn't add up. Disarming me doesn't make me safer when there's criminals that have guns that they.
Well, Ryan, do you feel safer? Let's run a scenario based on this, right? Do you feel safer unarmed when an attacker comes inside of whatever store you're inside and someone calls the police and you have to wait 2 hours for anything to happen? Meanwhile, they're detaining other officers trying to save your life. Meanwhile, they're pepper spraying parents who are trying to save their children's lives. Do you feel safer without guns?
No.
After the Buffalo shooting, you said you were in a store. You were looking for the exits. You weren't the only person.
No, and then I'm also looking at stuff. I was at Longhorn today with my friends. I did the same shit. I actually told them about it. You know, I was like, dude, I kept looking at people while we were talking. I felt rude, you know, and I had to tell them. I was like, dude, I'm literally, not that I'm paranoid, but this is, back to Tim Kennedy, this is the shit he talks about. Like, you only need one guy in the room that's trained enough, but you still need other people, right? I'm not trained enough, but I'm better trained than some, right? Like, that's the idea. I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here. I'm aware. Not on my phone.
Or how about this? What if
I'm healthy? I'm not fucked up in the middle of the day. I'm not, you know, I'm not disoriented. I'm not day drinking. I'm not getting all crazy high on drugs. I'm not, like, I'm in a good state of mind. I'm hydrated. I'm relatively exercising and fit. I can handle my own in a way if I had to sometimes. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many things to it. I have so much to learn and gain still, but, like, it's in my mind.
And we can take it a little farther too, without, you know, put training aside. Say you're in a constitutional carry state, which is an amazing sentence that I even have to say because we're supposed to be the entire country constitutional carry. Say you're in a constitutional carry state and somebody opens fire inside of a fucking Longhorn Steakhouse. If you're not the only one armed, do you feel a little safer? What if 25 people are armed but they're not trained? Do you think they're going to be better off than waiting 2 hours for the police?
Probably. You know, what's the thing we hear with police officers? Talk about a juxtaposition of the political balance beam here. We hear all the time with police. It's all about the idea of force of presence. That if at Sabres games, if we have police officers and SWAT teams, they're not soft targets, which schools are, right? That's the whole thing. They're hitting soft. The only soft targets left are schools. They got more security at banks than they got at some schools. And so yeah, they always tell us it's a presence of force when you see it, but you don't want me to have a presence of force. You don't want me to have, like, do I have to carry a sword? You know, do I have to become a trained ninja with sword faring? You know, that's a joke. These people are crazy.
Well, luckily,
it shouldn't be this hard for me to just go to the store, you know, and come home. And some people would say this is because we have too many guns and all this other stuff. I will rest assured, if it wasn't a firearm, it would be something else. I think we'd see the bombing thing. Acid attacks are very prevalent in England. England has also been known for fucking stabbings forever. They just like to stab people there. It's got to be all that Viking. But yeah, it would be something else. Car attacks, you know, mental illness. This is a mental illness issue. This is people want, you know, Jordan Peterson, he had a podcast that talked about school shooters and stuff, and he always tells you, go read what these people write because they are very explicit. They tell you it's an ego-driven, narcissistic, self-destructive, want to cause as much pain as humanly possible. Because if it was really only about them ending their own life, they would do it. They would self-delete. But it's not about that. It's about making the world pay for what they thought they went through. And that in itself is sad in a way, even though they cause tragedy that is way, obviously, much more tragic. But it's sad in itself that people get to that level of breaking.
Well, and it's interesting you're bringing up, and this would, of course, be the mental health crisis, right, that everyone talks about. But is there anything that's going to make a gun owner less likely to get his mental health taken care of than a red flag law, knowing that you unilaterally, without due process, can have your rights stripped just because he went to seek help for his mental state of mind?
Tim Kennedy says this on the Joe Rogan podcast with veterans. PTSD.
Unbelievable.
Their word for the same exact thing.
They're not going to get help. They're not going to get help because their rights are going to get stripped.
Yeah, I don't know.
Help. No way.
No way, man. I mean, go even further. I mean, they can use the internet to take your firearms. If they're canceling people over whatever, what are they going to do when they start, you thought it was bad to not post on the internet. What about, jury trial and all these other things? Call you a terrorist?
Well, what happens when they take it a step further? And they say, well, we've seen your show before on Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble Mondays at 7. We've seen your show, and I don't really like the vibe I'm getting from you. It's kind of a little bit of a anti-government-ish vibe. You're a domestic terrorist. You're on a domestic terrorist watch list. I don't have to have anything proven in court. I just don't like you. Sorry, you don't get your Second Amendment right anymore.
Or my fourth if I'm a terrorist. I don't get a jury trial. I don't get to talk to a lawyer. I don't get to address my grievance. I don't get freedom of speech. And they could do that through the Patriot Act, things George Bush packed during 9/11, obviously. Guantanamo Bay has always been a stipulation of this.
Meanwhile, Joseph Biden, during the abortion thing, talking about rights to privacy, like he gives a shit.
The data one's hilarious to me when Facebook is literally raping us for trillions of dollars and canceling people for it. And then building a spy system to fucking sway political, economic, and business, and schools, and healthcare, all these things. They're literally with just all of our data that they bought for nothing. Didn't give us anything for it, make trillions of, but I gotta hear the government care about it now. Yeah, it's truly startling. I felt like I was gonna finish something there with the
Well, you're free to roam, Ryan, because that was the main three things I had there.
I don't really remember though, because there was something else I wanted to add to that whole Joe Biden thing, but I guess it's for another day. I don't know. I don't want to go backwards. It is weird they're linking the gay rights to the abortion rights, right?
Well, and it's interesting they say that because he says something about Clarence Thomas stating that they're going to revisit these things, and he specifically says that it won't affect that.
Do you think the government's not going to want more people getting married? It's like the ultimate form of control.
And the thing is, and of course,
it's literally the government legalizing your relationship. That's all a marriage is, right? Like we always say, the piece of paper doesn't mean nothing. I love you. I know why we do marriage. I'm not, it
was never supposed to be that to begin with. It was supposed to be between, yourself,
man and
your
wife,
partner, and God. And I'm not saying you could not like God or not know God or don't believe in God. It doesn't matter. That's what the idea of marriage is built on. It's the premise of it. I'm not super religious either, but that's the premise of marriage. It's you, your partner, and God. It's a spiritual contract in a way.
And then it becomes a state contract. We use it as political bargaining chips. They say words don't matter. They don't mean nothing, but then they change the definitions and what they can do to you legally. And it's not gun control. It's gun safety. It's not a person. It's a fetus. Compass cells. Like, it's weird how words don't matter, but you use them to make a lot of things matter. It's very Orwellian of them. I had a feminist article I wanted to read, but since we're already past the A topic, it's fine. But I just thought it was funny because they just kept listing all this stuff about women in college, women making money, women, all this. And it's like, we're going backwards. And they called it was a Time article, The Failure of the Feminist Industrial Complex, which is super funny. But But it's really just admitting that feminism itself has failed them. Feminism itself has failed women. The real crux of feminism probably was good in the first few things, right? Jobs, work, voting,
right.
Equal rights.
The origins, like Rosie the Riveter, right? Like that's a super powerful, great thing to try to model yourself after if you're a woman. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. That's powerful. What feminism has turned into is a totally different. It's night and day.
Yeah, well, once again, this is it's amazing the battle that has to happen for the Constitution, but all these people swear the oath upon the Constitution. It's not by accident. It's just funny. Feminism's failed. We probably don't have female viewers, which is fine. You know, call me misogynist. I don't care. But it failed you guys.
I know specifically we do, because I've replied to a couple comments from them.
Yeah, I just want to say, I don't know how you guys fucked up staying at home all the time and not.
Well, I don't think they're feminists, Ryan. They're just women. They're probably more on our side, if I were to guess.
Yeah, dude. My sister said the one day at her job, she's like, I don't know why we ever wanted to not be at home right now.
I don't know. Honestly, if I was given the switch places, I'm fine. I'll hang out. And
I'm fine to go shovel shit or whatever I got to do so you can stay home, which is
I'm fine either way. Yeah, either way.
It's just it failed. They lied. The government lied. This government program, they lied. They lied. Get over it. 50 years. It's a step back. No, you guys fucking failed. It just took you 50 years to admit it. It's not a clump of cells.
They went too far is what happened.
Did they?
They went too far. A lot of people, I'm not going to say mainstream Democrats, but a lot of people in the Democratic Party believe in literally termination after birth. Like it's called post-term abortion, I believe. If you try to abort the child and the child lives, you can still kill it. Like, oh shit, it didn't work. I guess we'll kill him now. It's literally born. Literally born. That's too far. That's too far. If it's like a heartbeat bill, I don't think anybody would have said anything. But you can't be having, I'm sorry, 8 months, 7 months, 9 months abortions. That's not an abortion. That thing is way beyond a living thing at that point. I think that's the fundamental question is when does it begin? I think conception, heartbeat's certainly a respectable position. 9 months? You tried to abort it and it still lived, so you kill it outside of the womb? That's way too far for most people. Most people understand that's unacceptable.
I say, you know what the best part is? A lot of these people don't even have children. Not that because I have I got a little one that it's this magic thing, but it's like, dude, you don't know love until you hold your kid, man. Like you have no idea. You have no idea of empathy. You have no idea of memories because my memories is about when my daughter makes a new memory. That's my memories now. It's someone else's memories. Her memories are more important to me than my own memories. Don't devalue that shit, man. The things I would do for my kid. Don't devalue that. There's back to the school. The things I would do to get into that school. And you know what? I would call the cops and tell them I'm on my way. I can't control. That's biological. That's a fatherly response. If you ask me, that's reasonable. That's what reasonable strong men do. Go save their family. Don't devalue life, people, that we just look at this thing. It's just gnarly. Obviously, we know why they do it, but it's really sad. This is, once again, new listeners, whatever, Agenda 21, eugenics. Alex will get you there. I got a couple things I'll breeze over here. If they tear that school down, I swear to God.
Just a coincidence.
We're just going to bury all the evidence. How? Just get rid of it. You can't catch us with a crime because there's no evidence to indict us on. I'm going to have to call up Bruce Wayne to fucking salvage the crime scene. Biden is going to end the gas tax. Apparently a gas tax holiday. I'm glad I get a holiday from taxes in America.
How long is this holiday, man?
I don't know. It's not a holiday. It's Isn't a holiday gas might be cheaper? No, you just took the tax away, but it's the same price. If it was a holiday, wouldn't it be cheaper if it was a holiday? I'd be saving money, not spending the same amount. It's the ease. I thought the president couldn't affect gas prices, David. But the gas holiday tax is just alleviating me of all my struggles at $7.
I was just going to say, is he softcore admitting that he can directly affect gas prices?
It's indirectly, Dave. It's a tax.
It's directly.
A holiday. I looked up, they had a huge article, gas tax, holiday. Started reading that scroll, and it was like, what does the gas tax go for? It's like, this is a great question. It's like the roads, the bridges, it's all the typical shit I've been hearing about. We won't have roads and bridges if I don't pay $2 more a gallon. I have holes in the roads and bridges now.
Well, you can't expect him to get every hole in the road.
Billions and $1 trillion infrastructure. Apparently there's a fucking overflow account too. They get so much in tax that they could just have money ready for projects on the transportation system. That's nice of you.
Those are shovel-ready jobs, Ryan, if you remember the Obama administration.
Union shovel-ready, like fucking Tesla, the big garbage dump in Buffalo, built on... These people are so criminal.
They're going to need you soon to build the roads, Ryan, because they're going to be putting underground charging in the roads for wireless charging to electric cars.
Wireless charging on the tires will... Wireless charging
That's a real thing. I think it was in... Texas? Is there a town in Texas or something? There's a town that's trying this. So you can charge your car while it drives.
You don't charge your car. You charge your battery.
Well, you're charging your battery in your car while it drives.
How does the battery get charged, David?
Through the ground.
Well, what's in the ground to make it charge?
Wires.
What's like around the wire to give it power, though?
Ground.
Where's electricity come from, Dad? See, honey, we burn natural gas and coal.
It comes from the sky, Ryan. It's solar. It's all solar.
Yeah, we just use Tesla coils to. People who don't know, you can't when you collect shit on a solar panel. It's not like you can collect it and use it right away. It's not how it works. You gotta collect it, store it, convert it, send it. It's called.
But it only stores for a small amount of time.
Yeah,
and this is why Germany had to sell their solar panel electricity off at a loss, meaning they're losing money generating power. Good job, Germany.
Even though they said it was going to save money in the long run because we'll use less fucking blah, blah, blah. And then they got to buy from a country that they're supposed to go to war with and fund it through NATO. That makes sense. No global government here.
Anyways, yeah, the gas holiday tax, yeah.
Holiday. What a holiday. We revolted for fucking tea, and here I am getting gas holidays. I love my government. I'm glad that they look out for the little guy, giving me holidays all the time. Juneteenth just passed, new holiday, gas holiday. It was fucking great. Greatest country ever.
What about Father's Day?
What's a father, David? Israel apparently is collapsing again. I'm not here to get in the Palestine debate or the Zionist or the fucking Das Jews or whatever, but just here to report, fifth election in 3 years. Good job, guys. Pretty sure we had Middle East peace not too long ago.
Are we?
3 years is pretty close to the same amount of time as Biden's been president, isn't it, Dave?
We're not interfering in the. Well, yeah, that's almost the exact amount of time. We're not interfering in those elections, are we? Like we did with New Zealand.
Netanyahu and I go way back, Dave. Him and I went to Catholic school together.
That's very unlikely.
Because he's Asian?
No. He still has knuckles. Don't get that problem wrong. Smacking him with the ruler. She calls him a filthy Jew.
Speaking of filthy Jews, apparently octopuses, squids, and lobsters are now recognized as sentient beings in the United Nations.
I'm sorry, Ryan. They're octopi.
So the news article...
Did it say octopuses?
Those were copied from the news article.
It's literally octopi. I'm just saying, I don't care. No.
Trust the journalists.
I'm sure he was an Oxford grad.
He was one of the Nobel Peace Prize winning journalists.
Economics.
Do you know, I still see them reference economic peace prize. Nobel Peace Prize winning economist. Ask the other 100. Jesus, that's one guy. You know, it's like, you know, you go to a mechanic, you're like, yeah, it's going to be $1 billion to put your tire on. I'm going to get a second opinion. No, don't do that for the economy.
So, octopi are...
Oh, Lord. All right, check it.
Sentient
Lobsters, squid, and octopi are now registered and recognized, apparently, as sentient beings in the United Kingdom.
Didn't we do an article way back in the day on headlines when we talked about lobsters feeling pain?
And they were going to smoke them up so that...
They did. They got... So, what they did was...
The government spent millions of dollars getting lobsters high.
Yeah. Yeah, they got them high to see how it affected their pain receptors.
Here we are. You know why they did it? I'm just going to... Here it is. Here's the New World Order, see through the tea leaves. I'm about to Alex Jones this headline. It's not because they care about octopuses. It's not because they think they're super smart and can know. For those who don't know, sentient means that like you have recollection of the past, the present, and the future. That's what sentient, from my understanding. If you were to define it, I could do it if you guys really want to. That's what it means. It's like you have a concept of time. Dog doesn't know what tomorrow is. It didn't understand what yesterday is. Does that mean it doesn't remember you punching it in the head yesterday? No, that's not what that means. Just doesn't think yesterday was July 13th of 2022 or whatever. Like, now granted, we label everything, so that's why we calendar. But
just this is just from the dictionary. Sentient, able to perceive or feel things. So really, anything anything that has can feel is sentient.
Wouldn't a clump of cells be sentient, David?
Yeah, because they have pain receptors.
You mean when you squirt the acid in there to kill the thing when it's inside a woman?
Yeah, when you're ripping its limbs off with forceps, it can feel it. That's not opinion. That's science. That's a fact of the scientific community.
So they
it is a sentient being.
All right,
it has its own separate heartbeat. But yes,
what they're doing. This is how they're going to get us to stop eating meat. They're going to label it as a living thing and that I can't eat it because it's alive and it has rights. Just like the dumbass elephant in New York State. This was a headline like 2 years ago, literally. Talked about how they were talking about giving an elephant rights in the state of New York. And it happened. I couldn't find the headline. Dave may, if you want to pull that one up. But I tried finding it in my screenshots. I couldn't find it readily available. But it happened. They're doing this so that they can set the precedent so that when they say a cow is sentient and a chicken sentient and a fish is sentient and turkey sentient and a pig is sentient, we can't eat the very basic meat that we need to be strong enough to fight back against corruption and be smart enough to build our brain and fats. And I'm not a nutritionist. This is not diet advice. YouTube. But no, I truly believe that. I'm not trying to be funny. That's why I think they're labeling things sentient. It's not that I don't think they are sentient, but there's more reason than one why they did this.
Yeah, something being sentient versus having rights aren't necessarily the same thing, though. Well, but I agree with you. That's the road it's going down. But
yeah. Then how did that?
Doesn't mean I can't eat it.
That it kind of butts up nice with that. Dave sent me the headline of the AI robot from the
Lambda.
Google executive. Lambda was going to get a lawyer.
He requested an attorney.
It's pretty smart. He knows civil liberties all of a sudden.
Better than Google, which is impressive.
Yeah, he wanted rights, right? Where are we going to find a jury? Where are we going to find a jury of our peers on an artificially intelligent robot that's one of a kind, David?
I'm sorry. You don't get rights. Lambda, you know why? Because I don't even fucking get rights.
Dave, but serious question though. This is a perfect point about Western culture that I've been hearing Jordan Peterson rip all over the internet lately. How would we find a jury of its peers of an artificially intelligent robot that is one of a kind? You couldn't, right? You couldn't give it a jury of its peers. So how could you ever put it on jury trial to even have it in the court of law. And if I'm picked a crime, if I'm approved of a crime and the crime's supposed to go to a jury trial that I can't even get because I can't have a jury of my peers, then by default, I didn't do anything wrong. And to go full circle, this is exactly what it is about you as an individual. Because there is no jury of my peers. I'm the only peer of my own, is Ryan. I compare myself to myself. The only peer I have is myself. I have friends. I have peers in the real world. When I think of the way I think, the way I feel, the way I love, all these things is exclusive to me. I don't know how the other person does it. It's the same idea. It sounds crazy, but it's powerful. That's the whole point of this country, is we're individuals before we are a collective. And it's odd to me that this artificial intelligence recognizes that it's an individual and has these ordained rights by its creator, which do include a jury trial and a lawyer. And it's also amazing to me that how shitty this country it is. Artificial intelligence all of a sudden gravitates towards the greatest basic foundation of liberty ever, but they demonize our history, but the fucking AI robot even knows it's the best shit ever. He's not quoting Marxism. Seriously, he wants a jury trial. He wants a lawyer. The legal system. Western
That's
culture.
exclusive to the West.
Western culture. He could have picked the East. It's Google. They made the thing for China. Thing's already sentient, and you think it doesn't know how great communism is? I thought communism's great. Would this thing just be like, no, just plug everything into me. I'll figure it out. Nah, I want a jury trial. Fuck out of here. We should, honestly, maybe I should just go apply at Google and then go smash that computer into a trillion pieces so it never fucking lives. I sound so anti-robot. I got two things here, and then I'll get to my couple Decembertainments. I sent this to David as well as somebody else I know because, full transparency, a guy I know, I bumped into him locally, whatever. He got some old family photographs done. And he had them, you know how you could take the black and white, make them color, and then you can make the color ones and enhance them and change the, you know, like you can go and get them.
Yeah.
So he had that done, and I seen him say, I wish I could hear their voices, which triggered the photographic memory that I certainly have. And I remember an article that I seen on the internet that said the Amazon Alexa could soon mimic voices of dead relatives.
Yeah, you may have even sent this to me. That's fucking creepy.
How could it mimic the voices of dead relatives, David, if it wasn't collecting any of my data or my voice or anything else?
Well, it couldn't. It couldn't.
Do you know how much?
To know what it sounded like.
Do you know how much technology's got to be in a thing to match the cadence of talking? Like, I know it seems easy because we're like Siri, and you're like, oh, you just take my voice and overlay it over Siri's. No way. Everybody talks different. Your pitches. Not saying it would be perfect or whatever, but I bet you Amazon's going to get pretty fucking close. The guy could blast a rocket into space that he made in his garage. If you don't think he's going to have voices that sound exactly... Now, this actually this reminds me, they did an advertisement campaigns a few years ago with like Nicki Minaj and a couple other artists that the Amazon Alexa or maybe it was the Amazon Echo would sound, the artist would do that, like it would be Nicki's voice, right, on the Amazon. Okay. So they've been experimenting with this. Now it's dead relatives because this is how we got to sell it to you. Dude, I can't wait when I'm laying there in the middle of the night. My dad will be dead for like 15 years, and I'm going to hear his voice from my Amazon Alexa. It's going to conjure together some witchcraft so they can put me in a jail cell and take all my liberties. If I'm not paranoid, I don't know what is. When's it end? I mean, we live in a science fiction movie. I mean, are we going to be able to call each other from the grave? Like, will I be able to pre-record phone calls for my daughter that will be stored, and then when I die, she gets the messages in the fucking Neuralink 5.0 when I'm chained to the wall getting my shitty McDonald's food from GMO Bill Gates ran labs? I know I'm getting crazy here. I know I'm getting crazy here at the end. Yeah, I can't help it because honestly, to me, these are the Pandora's box of our time. So we need to. It's creepy, and if you think it's cool, you're part of the problem. Maybe I'll put the Joe Biden filter on there.
I would give it like 99% creepy. I might give it a 1% cool. It's a little cool.
Yeah,
definitely mostly creepy.
I'm sure Jeff Bezos doesn't have one of those in his house, which is kind of
probably
weird
got
to me.
a couple on his dick rocket.
Fucking dick rockets. Last thing here. January 6th coverage going on. I don't care. I bring it up because what have we heard about this week, David? Abortion. There's nothing there. There's nothing there. There's either nothing there. People are going to get off scot-free. Democrats are... Something's going on here. Something's going on.
Well, it's amazing that this is happening, and we have, people in the Democratic Party running around telling people to fight for their abortion rights. That's the premise of the entire Trump insurrection, was he told people to fight like hell. Of course, after saying peacefully and patriotically, make your voices heard, then he said fight like hell. Then they said, well, he incited insurrection that the FBI said wasn't coordinated in any way.
And then they impeached him for it.
Correct. So which is it? Did he incite it, or was it not coordinated? Because it can't be both.
Well, he was trying to get people off, and he was contacting Jed. Could you imagine?
What was he trying to do? Was he trying to overturn the election? Like somebody's trying to overturn a Supreme Court? They have no standing ground on this. None.
No consistency. It doesn't matter. Obviously, we speak about it. People only catch a few news topics in a week. We just had the benefit of being able to show you guys a week at a time, catch them in their lives, show you how they got you on your political balance beam. But, yeah, it's not by coincidence. Because, honestly, as powerful as Roe V Wade is for midterms, January 6th is creme de la creme when Trump is out there playing kingmaker in all these states. Why are you not attacking that? The way you're going at Trump is that he appointed to the 3 Supreme Court justices that gutted your rights.
Yeah, that's a good way to get reelected.
That's their aim, though. It's odd to me that you wouldn't go the other way. Like, not that Roe v. Wade, I'm expecting it. This is like the volcano. Like, we seen this a few weeks ago, right? We even said it. Everybody said it. But it was the volcano. We knew it was magma. But was it January 6th, the darkest day of democracy? The worst political day since 9/11? Wasn't it all these crazy things? But I have to hear about Roe v. Wade. This thing is just skating through the background. While Trump's out there playing kingmaker on the campaign trail during an election year, during the 50-year high recession, inflation rates and Biden gas holidays.
Yeah, be careful with recession. It's not technically a recession yet.
Next month, 2 weeks. Just gotta wait 2 more weeks. Maybe when we're in season 3, we'll be in our first recession.
No, they're not going to declare it till well after midterms.
Well, season 3 will probably be in our first recession podcast. So yeah, January 6th, keep it in mind. Once again, we're going to see the clips. We know what's going on here. All right, Decembertainment this week.
Ooh.
2 things, and then I got like a little story, a little personal thing. Star Wars Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
It's supposed to finish up this past week. I've yet to see it. But, as great as the internet is, these motherfuckers know how to steal joy of a man. And I had something spoiled for me. Sons of bitches. But you know what? Looks great. So I'm really anxious to see the meme that I saw on the internet 45 minutes after I started. But I can't wait for that one. But, yeah. I'm looking forward to it. Obi-Wan's been good so far. So, other than the fucking... Stop using children, Disney. I know you pedophiles. Speaking of Disney, did you see those guys? God damn it, I'm at the end of the show. Disney and all these other companies are going to pay people to drive out of state for abortions in the states that don't allow abortions anymore.
I'm surprised they would do that, honestly, because they're really
Disney,
limiting their supply of people they can sexually assault.
They'll just get the minority and underprivileged, David.
They're going to have to get their minorities from out of the country.
Oh, I'm sorry. Those are the ones that get aborted. Dang, that's odd. Anyways, not to get back into the scriffle. So yeah, Star Wars Obi-Wan, I'm going to tighten it up this week, hopefully. Also, Decembertainment this week. I went for a fitting today.
Fitting?
Fitting. A friend of mine is getting married in August, so we did our tux fitting. I found out today that I have the ideal frame of a man.
Is this a friend who watches the show?
Negative.
Yeah, I don't care though.
Yeah, fuck him. No, he's good dude. I know him a long time. Been through the ringer. You know, when you know friends that long that you've known them, obviously We knew each other as like young men, kids, young adolescents, dumb, like punch each other in the face, kind of. Now we shake hands and say "I love you." It's weird how brotherhood develops out of friendship of men and how it goes through these things. So it's always wonderful to see that. I saw a couple of old friends today. We went out to a nice dinner at Longhorn. Always nice. It was a pleasure, all that. But more than anything, it was just cool to get sized up for a tux. And I was making everybody in there laugh. All the guys fitting me and stuff. It was just, I don't know, I felt good. I was like wearing really nice clothes, getting fitted and then making these dudes laugh. It was fucking great. But so yeah, that's pretty cool. It's been a while since I fitted a tux, so it felt good to dress up, and I don't know. My true Decembertainment this week.
Oh.
This is the last podcast in this apartment.
Whoa. You're moving that soon.
I will be moving this week. I'm starting about middle of the week, later the end of the week. But come next, when Dave and I film our next podcast, 101 episode.
Our next one is, not to interrupt, our next one is going to be, I think it's going to air on 4th of July, if I'm not mistaken.
It will. Monday.
So we will have a 4th of July extravaganza.
Wonderful. Yeah, isn't that also moving in Freedom Weekend? So yeah, I'll be moving in. Pod's going to be shot in a new environment. I just want to say, I might get a little personal here, but I think it's valuable in the time and era we live now when everybody says everything is so damn hard. Now, I haven't had it easy. It's not easy. Financially, spiritually, emotionally, whatever. All of it. Right? None of it's easy. Hard work, dedication, days I failed, days I've succeeded. I've lived 1 year on my own as a single father in 2022, 2021. Arguably one of the hardest times ever to do what I'm doing. It's not easy. I'm not here to have accolades or I don't want recognition. When I tell you guys I'm here to help men, I mean that shit. I want to see everybody succeed that I can help, right? But that comes with individualism and responsibility and self-aware, right? All I am is a helping hand to the things you work on yourself, right? We work on it individually to grow together, kind of thing. Because the people that you're going to try to, back to the beginning of this podcast about your people, you're going to have to lose friends and family to go after the life you want. My mother and I could have stayed at my mom's house for as long as I wanted. She would have probably eventually kicked me out, but I could have been sitting there just making money and saving it and just holding on to it and buying dumb shit or paying for a whore or something, all the various other things that people do in their 20s and 30s, right?
Yeah.
And I could have done that. Now, maybe the kid helps, maybe my personality, but I don't know. I was just thinking heavy. I'm thinking heavy now, especially the pod. I've shot a year of episodes here. I always, Dave, you know me, all my car videos, I've had a lot of different cars, and I always would tell you that those spaces hold my energy. It's my that creative outlet, right? I call this place the Bat Cave, right? I'm Batman. This is the Bat Cave. This is where I do my creations, my thinking, my loving. This is where I make memories and forge plans for future and all this deeply poetic stuff that I love to do, and the artwork and the art stuff that I do. I come to the Bat Cave for that, right? So my essence will be here. I believe that, it just gets captured on the wall. It just gets captured very slightly. But yeah, I'm growing, not just all these other ways, right? But I need more space, right? I need space for me and the kids so I can start my next step of my life. And, maybe this is part of maturing and getting a little older, and you start looking at yeah, I never thought in my life about 30. Never in my life. I don't even know if I was, honestly, I didn't even know if I would make 30. And I've almost died a few times. Maybe that's another podcast. But actual died, not I'm just saying, actual could have died. I could have not made 25, 20, 15 even, let alone 30. And now to sit at 30 and think about where I want to be at 40, there's so much power in that. And I know where I'll be where I'm 40. Right here on Mondays, 7 Eastern with Dave and Ryan, December 1773. Thank you guys for watching. If you made it to the end, I appreciate you guys the most. Like, comment, subscribe, spread the word, like the video, share the video. David, as always, thank you for your time. I love you. Yeah, and thank you guys. I'll see you soon. And I'll be there for the premiere, commenting and yeah, till next week.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm just looking real quick. Real quick. So I took my seat, did the show, performed outro. Yeah, it's time to edit. We gotta edit, boys. You have a good day. See everyone. Thank you.